currently standing here this afternoon on the Sunday morning with Dave and Kev from Hell. So guys, how was it this morning?
It was amazing. The compere said that it's the biggest crowd he's ever seen at that time in the morning for the opening band on a Sunday. So, thanks so much to everybody that turned out to see us.
It was fantastic. We didn't expect a crowd of that size. And it was just wonderful that many people could actually be bothered to get up and come and see a band that a lot of people had never heard of.
I mean, you guys were opening the Sunday, so it must have sort of been a bit, how are we going to get everyone awake?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I've been coming to Bloodstock as a fan for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
And Saturday night is always a heavy night, so... in fact, we were originally booked, second up, but then I think 1349 had some issues getting back from Germany in time. So we agreed with BOA that we'd open the show. We don't care, we'll go on any time, really. And there's always that kind of risk that, first band, Sunday morning, everybody's still in the tent, hungover, but it was just rammed. Yeah. Amazing.
And you've had awesome weather as well.
We have, yes. Yeah. Well, we organised that personally.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
With the elements. But it makes a testament to the mentality of the people who come to this festival that they will get up and come and look at a band, whether they know them or not, at that time in the morning on a Sunday. It's phenomenal. You don't get that in other festivals because it has to be said that some of those people aren't that interested in all the bands or seeing new bands or actually metal per se. They're just kind of there to be at a festival. Yeah. But here, you really feel that the people here will give anybody a chance and see what you can present.
Best in the world, no question.
It really is fantastic.
Yeah, best in the world, this.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask is that obviously you guys have been around for quite a while. You've been cited online in reviews, features, things that you're kind of one of the indirect influences during the 80s. Do you think now that the album Human Remains is out, that you guys are finally going to get that recognition that you deserve?
Well, I wasn't in the band in the 80s, so
he wasn't. No, he's the new boy.
You're going to have to ask Big Brother here.
I think there's a lot of truth in that. I mean, back in the 80s, Hell was really ahead of the game. Most people who kind of knew of us back then said that it's years ahead of its time. And as a result of that, nobody really understood it. We couldn't get a record deal, and the band kind of largely folded as a result of that. But then, obviously, Andy Sneap was a little kid on the front row of every show. He then went on to form Sabbath, which is basically a clone of Hell. Yeah. You then get bands like Cradle of Filth, who get hugely influenced by Sabbath. It's kind of like looking at somebody's tree, somebody's family tree, almost. But it kind of stops when you kind of get back to us. We're very, very flattered that people sort of consider that we're an influence. And it's just amazing to have this kind of opportunity to kind of do it again. In a kind of much more modern way, with all the modern production and stuff. Yeah. Honestly, we're just having a ball. We really are.
So is he.
Nice. Yeah. So, I mean, have you guys been pleased with the reception that you've had from Human Remains?
Yeah. I mean, I always thought that it was a great band because obviously I was a fan when I was a kid, and I always loved the band anyway. Yeah. And I always felt that very strongly if the music had been recorded well. That people should like it. That's I couldn't understand why the band didn't do well commercially back in the day. So I'm delighted for the guys in the band who were the original members because
you're in the band as well now.
I'm in the band now, but I didn't participate in writing that material. I didn't gig that material, and it's just so great for me to see them getting the kind of success that they deserved back in the day. Now, and the fact that I'm able to come in at the 11th hour and be involved as well is fantastic. I'm just very, very lucky.
I mean, by the same token, he's taken it and he's made it totally his own. 25 years is a long time not to do this. Yeah. And then suddenly, you kind of get plucked out of nowhere. You've got this album that the media are freaking out about. You're doing main stage at Bloodstock. You're all over Europe. The album's getting rave reviews. It's charting all over. And it's, is this really happening?
Yeah.
And it's. To be quite honest, I'm still having a hard time actually believing that it's. Are you real? It's like this, It's that kind of vibe. So it's brilliant,
I mean, even you had your first live show in Nottingham with the new lineup and everything recently, and I read that you had people come out from Scandinavia and California. I mean, that must have been like, wow.
I know. I mean, we're going to do it because it's like a little local show, and we just felt that the kind of resurrection, the album launch and stuff, we do a little tiny gig at a little club, where we used to play years and years and years ago, because there's hundreds of people who followed us, all the way from the 80s, and we just felt we owed it to them get first bite of the cherry, so to speak. But obviously, it went out online and stuff, and there's all these guys who are ordering tickets from Sweden, and I mean, we're going to do it again on New Year's Eve, and there's guys flying from Canada, and it's freaky. Yeah.
You should enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
It's the power of metal.
Yeah, it is.
It is, the resurrecting power of metal. Yes, indeed.
And one thing I wanted to ask yourself is that you use a radio mic on stage. That's quite sort of different, really, to be using in metal. I mean, kind of obviously you've got both your hands free. I mean, why was you decide to use that instead of just a standard microphone?
So I can hold a beer in both hands at the same time, effectively.
Yeah.
But no,
it's asking that,
It's I'm an actor by background, so to have anything between my face and the audience, although it would be very good for them, is weird for me because when you're acting, you try and communicate everything with your face and your voice to the audience, and so it's kind of natural for me to do that. And somebody suggested it, and we tried it out, and I thought this feels more normal for me to do than to have a hand mic, because otherwise you just start doing loads of rock star stuff.
I mean, I thought it kind of would have been quite self-conscious to kind of, I suppose if you've got that actor training, then, you're kind of used to sort of just being completely open.
Yeah, well, the kids are talking to in the audience say they feel that I'm really singing to them. And I think it's because there's nothing in the way. And I think it's as simple as that, and they're kind of going, God, he's really looking at me. And I'm going, yes, I am. We're looking at you. And
I mean, something else that's probably worth mentioning is that obviously when we come and do festivals, you're in, you've got like a 4-minute line check, 3 minutes to get your gear on, you're on and you're off again. Whereas, I mean, the full kind of show, I mean, we do fire breathing and all sorts of stuff. And obviously, because Dave's the front man, he's got a lot to do with his hands. There's props and axes and swords and an exploding Bible. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on. And again, almost all of that stuff is impossible if you've got a mic in your hand as well. So it was actually Andy Sneap's idea, and it just works really well. And again, it's just something that kind of differentiates us from everybody else.
Definitely.
And we do want to be different. We don't want to be the same as everybody else. So yeah, it's good.
So what are you guys up to now? Are you hanging about for a bit, checking any bands out?
Nice girl.
Yeah, I'll say Exodus.
Yeah, we're going to see Exodus. Yeah, see the girls from Exodus.